If you go to China, of course you have to speak Chinese. If you go to Russia, you gotta speak Russian. If you come to the United States, you have to speak English.
Yeah, we see a lot of that, but you got to understand that everybody out here trying to make a living. This been going on for years, and it's still going to go on for years.
How big of a problem do you think that this is, not only for American citizens, but for truckers' jobs?
I think it's a huge problem for America, because those are jobs that Americans could be doing instead of them. They can't read, write, or speak English. You got to be able to read the signs.
We are in the road, we have to share, and we have to follow the signs. For your questions, if he didn't read the sign exactly, that's the problem.
Yeah.
He make major accidents for like small habit.
It's not easy to drive a truck.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do it. Even if when you have a trailer like this one. So if you are a driver and you know how to drive, the language is not the most important.
They've been knowing about it, or right now they just want to start doing something about it.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's been going on for years, and my thing is right now, I can understand that if you're going to be a U.S. citizen, at least you should know how to speak English, get the proper paperwork to drive these things. But my thing is that everybody try to make a living, everybody try to have a life.
What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you guys pulling up and hanging out with me for a little bit. I'm disappointed in this brother right here. Keep it a buck, man. Quit trying to be politically correct. You're out here trying to earn a living, but you're competing against illegal immigrants who are not paying taxes, who are taking loads away from U.S. American drivers, U.S. American small business owner operators. They're taking loads. They can't speak the language. In some cases, they fraudulently received their CDLs. And that's why a lot of these brothers and sisters out here that are on the roads, they're struggling right now in the trucking. Now, you also got to add in the fact that Democrats also brought in a bunch of, regulations and red tape. And then obviously the fuel is up. So it's eating into the profit margins. But the biggest thing that has been eating into the profit margins of the trucking industry is the large number of illegal immigrants that are out there driving the cost of loads down. And then these people, they can't speak English. They cause massive accidents because they're reckless. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel. This right here is something that's near and dear to me. I come from a family, of trucker. My pops owned a trucking company for a very long time. That's the only job that I've known him to do other than being in the Army. And, he was a small business owner. And this was an issue then. He's since retired and sold the company and things of that nature a few years back. But this has been a problem. So I'm in agreement with this brother here. He's right. This has been a thing for a long time. But to sit here and act like, well, it's okay because, I'm like, come on, man. Stand up. Stand up and fight for what's yours. We are Americans. You can't allow people to come over here and just run roughshod. You can't.
Director Lyons, I saw something that startled me. That was ICE arresting an Indian national, an illegal alien operating an 18-wheeler in Oklahoma. And you can see on your screen now, he was carrying a New York State issued commercial driver's license that could also be used as a real ID. His first name was listed as, quote, no name given.
How is this possible? How is this possible that someone gets a New York State driver's license, a CDL, a commercial driver's license that is a real ID. Y'all see that star right up there in the right corner, which makes it a real ID. And on this dude's ID, it says no name given, and y'all gave this individual a license. What are we doing? Do you guys not understand? These people get access to loads that could weigh as much as 80,000 pounds. And you're allowing a person with no name given on their driver's license to drive one of these things, pick up loads, take money and resources from other Americans who are law abiding? Could you imagine? Have you ever seen a U.S. citizen with that on their license? Have you?
That's literally a real ID he was arrested with. Meanwhile, ICE has arrested at least 91 illegals operating commercial vehicles following that deadly crash back in August in Florida. That was also an Indian national. fortunately, in this latest no-name case, no one lost their life, but this has got to give a lot of pause and concern for people that we have a lot of illegal aliens out there that shouldn't be behind commercial vehicles.
Yeah, it's really scary, Griff. And, like you said, to see that on a driver's license issued by a state, no name given. And the worst part, there's a real ID star right up there in the corner. I don't know about you all, but it was like going through a security clearance for me to get my real ID. So I can't believe that we're giving illegal aliens who have no right to be here these driver's licenses. You have these sanctuary states that want to go ahead and try to just make it welcoming for these people that we don't know who they are. And again, these are CDL licenses. These people are transporting hazardous goods, materials at times, and in some cases we don't know exactly what they're doing. And look how many American citizens have lost their lives because of individuals like that have these driver's licenses. Homeland Security Investigations is dedicated to working with the other state police departments and our other federal agencies to make sure we get these IDs off the street and arrest these criminal aliens.
There also needs to be an investigation as to who signed off on allowing this to happen. And I'm not talking about the person or the people who work at the DMV or the MVA. In Maryland, they call them MVA, the Motor Vehicle Association. I think that's what it's called. And I know DMV, as y'all know what that stands for. But it's not the people that work there. The people who signed off on this need to be arrested. Every, unelected or elected official that signed off on this and allowed this to happen in the state of New York and the other states, that they need to be investigated and arrested immediately. This cannot be. A message needs to be sent and an example needs to be made out of these people.
President Biden let in millions of illegals into this country. And he thought it would be a good idea that when they come in, they get a job, and they get a job driving a commercial motor vehicle. They didn't have the training, they didn't have the skill. We didn't do background checks in the last administration, so they could have had a mile-long rap sheet of crimes or drunk driving or speeding violations, but we didn't know who they were. And we saw that when those illegals were driving these big rigs, they were killing American citizens. You're a family that was on the way to Walmart, or you're going to church on a Sunday, you could lose your life on an American road. So because of the president's initiative, he signed an executive order over a year ago. It was the common sense rules of the road. And since you signed that executive order, we all have been working overtime to make sure we take illegals off American roads, and we give those jobs to great Americans, including great American veterans. These are great paying jobs. They're anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 plus a year. And it's important because you have men and women who drove big rigs in the military who would then get out and have to go through months-long training for their skills and their knowledge test to drive this vehicle over here. Well, if Secretary Pete Hegseth thinks that you can drive a vehicle like this, Donald Trump and Sean Duffy think that you can drive a vehicle like that. So we have illegals are out, American patriots are in this administration. We've had more people, trucking companies call us and try to find, how do I hire more veterans? How do I bring the great men and women who serve this country, how do I bring them into my company? So you can go to freedomhaulers.dot.gov to get more information. But we are clearing the deck for you to get a great job in trucking. Mr. President, there's a lot of things that the radical left, as you mentioned, get angry about because they're radical. But safety for the American citizenry is bipartisan. This is not a political issue. This is an American issue. Let's make sure American roads are safe. Let's make sure we put great patriots who serve this country on American roads, well-trained, with great skills. And I think this is one of the great legacies of your administration.
I would agree 1,000%. And this is awesome. This is phenomenal. We're getting Americans into these opportunities. These are also opportunities that could potentially turn into business opportunities. We're also getting veterans in these opportunities. And again, these are opportunities that could turn into business opportunities. A lot of truckers end up becoming small business owners, owner operators, where they, drive a truck and maybe they own a fleet of 2 or 3 or more, if they're ambitious. This is a outstanding opportunity. And thank you so much to the president for putting Americans first. We had an administration that didn't care about Americans. And now we have one that is saying, you know what? We're getting people that should not have ever received a commercial driver's license off of our roads. And we want to make sure that these opportunities go to U.S. citizens. And we're also helping our veterans get into these opportunities and getting the proper certification, things of that nature, as quickly and as possible. And I co-sign this 1,000%. Thank you, Mr. President.
Our official policy to enforce English language requirements for truck drivers and support American truckers on American roadways. We've already removed more than 24,000 non-English speakers from behind the wheel. We've also forced states to cancel more than 28,000 commercial driver's licenses unlawfully issued to illegal aliens. They were given illegally. As we get illegal aliens off the roads today, we're also taking action to replace these unqualified migrant truck drivers with highly qualified American veterans. Under our brand new Freedom Haulers, we call it Freedom Haulers initiative, any American who has driven a heavy truck for our military will automatically be eligible for a commercial driver's license, and it's good paying jobs.
I'm for certain that CNN, MS, no one's watching. No one on the left will speak on this because they're anti-America. They're anti-veterans. They're anti-U.S. citizens obtaining these opportunities. You won't hear it, but that's why you got us to share this information, to put this information out there, because there are somebody, I'm sure there's someone in your family that they're getting ready to get out. Maybe they want to get into trucking or something along those lines. They need to hear this information, and they need to know the administration. They need to know the party. They need to know the person who is making this happen for them, because Lord knows if the Democrats ever get their way again, they're going to flood our nation once again with illegal immigrants, and they're going to give them these opportunities. We cannot afford to allow that to happen again.
The gig is up for these undocumented immigrant truck drivers. Donald Trump wants to replace them with U.S. military veterans. While speaking at the Pennsylvania Defense and Innovation Summit, he announced this plan. He said that the federal government will grant automatic commercial driver's license, CDLs, to any American veteran who has experience operating heavy trucks during their military services. And he also wants to fast track this, like in a hurry. So fast track veterans with military transport experience into the commercial trucking industry by bypassing traditional state CDL testing hurdles. I wonder what testing hurdles these undocumented immigrant truck drivers had to bypass, or did somebody just, push them through?
They got pushed through. I mean, the dude got a license that said no name given. I mean, they was pushed through.
Yeah, did they just push them through? Now, this is all an initiative in wanting to make the roads in America safer for American drivers, because in this very same state, Pennsylvania, a state trooper lost his life. Michael lost his life to a Haitian national who was in this country illegally, but somehow he was able to drive a truck. Now, this impact all Americans, because even though a truck driver, undocumented immigrant truck driver, could have got their license or CDLs in Florida, New York, California, some of them have long trips. They travel across this country, so they just don't stay in the places where they receive their CDLs at. Well, anyway, let me know what y'all think about this plan.
Yeah, this is about safety, man. It's once again, man, it's just the president staying on message, staying on code, offering and making sure that he fulfilled the promises that was made during the campaign. Americans first. This is what this is about.
May or may not be aware, but Hundreds of thousands of truckers have been complaining consistently about the fact that a lot of the illegal migrant drivers were issued their CDLs illegally. Now, I want to remind you, it's very difficult to get a CDL license. An American citizen has to go through an extensive process to gain the license, but you have this surge of illegal migrants suddenly receiving their CDL licenses. We've had multiple cases, as President Trump just mentioned, of people losing their lives on the road as a result of illegal migrants operating these vehicles with no training. Oftentimes, they do not understand how to read the street signs, and unfortunately, people have lost their lives. Tons of truckers complaining about losing money because the illegal operators are able to undercut their wages and get the jobs for a lot less money. Trump has consistently tied these policies to real tragedies where illegals are operating these vehicles and they do not understand English. Also seeing communication breakdowns between drivers and dispatchers who don't speak English or who cannot read the signs in English, or other drivers who are trying to communicate with other drivers who don't speak English on the road. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy launched a program called the Freedom Haulers that looks to hire veterans and get them into these positions so that we don't have a gap in employment, but that we also can provide them with job opportunity. It's safe to say if you cannot read the signs or cooperate with dispatchers, you should not be operating an 80,000-pound vehicle, putting lives at risk. And it is not fair for Americans who obtain their CDLs and spend the money and the time to obtain them to have their wages undercut, and also have an unfair system where people can come in, not speak the language, not have the qualifications, bypass the line, and just take the same job. It's not fair and it's not safe. And so I go into greater detail on this topic over on.
Yeah, she's absolutely right. It's not fair and it's not safe. It's not fair and it's not safe, but Democrats don't care about that. They got him in this situation. And yeah, the president is getting rid of these folks. So this initiative to get veterans in, to fill that gap, to happen quickly, is to make sure that, hey, nothing stops, because we understand that the number one way that goods are moved around the country is through these trucks. It's through these guys, man. These guys, honestly, they're the backbone, of our economic system. I don't think people know this, but they are. They are the backbone. I mean, these guys, they're cross country, north, south, east, and west, man. They're getting it. And we need them. But we need qualified people. We need people that speak English. We need citizens taking these positions.
Truck drivers in America are reporting that those drivers that are foreign, that are illegal, that have no name licenses, can't get loads. That as soon as the Supreme Court ruled 9-0 that the brokers are financially responsible, it removed the safety net that they had. This is why they played that game, because they weren't financially responsible. Now they are. And immediately, drivers that are from other countries, drivers that have no name on their licenses, or they've been flagged for being unsafe, they've been taken off the road and then gotten back on the road, brokers don't want to work with them. They're stranded all over the United States. They can't get loads. Nobody wants to give them loads. It's working. It took time. We're 2 years into this presidential campaign. They've been focused on this, and we're getting to the point where we're only going to have legit Americans on the road. It's going to be safer. And you know what will be the blessing for them? They're going to start getting paid like they used to get paid. They're going to start making money like they used to make, because there's no other option. These brokers that came out of nowhere and kind of ruined the trucking industry, they're losing their ability to do so, because they're going to have to not cherry pick cheap drivers, the ones that don't care because they're probably not insured right. Yeah, things are changing.
Absolutely. And the brokers, we got to hold them accountable as well. And I get it. Greed is something else, man. The love of money. A lot of people say money is the root of all evil. No, the love of money is the root of all evil. These people are illegal. These people couldn't speak English. You hired someone to try to translate and have conversations with these people. You cherry pick them to make sure that they got the loads, because I'm for certain that the brokers are still charging top dollar, to the companies. But because they don't have to pay much, that difference that they're making, in what the company is willing to pay for the load and what you have to pay as a broker, to a driver for said load. Hey, yeah, we'll hire somebody that's not on the up and up. They'll do it for, not next to nothing, but that just helped them to increase their profit margins. And I'm glad that the Supreme Court ruled the way it is, because now, oh, Mr. Broker, Mrs. Broker, you're now responsible. You're now responsible if something happens. And most of these people, they got into this industry recently. Recently, they got into this industry and they've been making money hand over fist. And I'm glad it stopped. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts? Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family or buy your brother a coffee. That link's in the description box below. I appreciate the love, appreciate the support. And as always, keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you guys next time. Peace.
It is God who arms me with strength. Yeah, I'm battle ready. He trains my hands for battle. My heart stays steady. But thanks be to God, He gives us the victory. Through my Lord Jesus Christ, it can't live in me. I was down to the dirt, red clay on my shoes, old pain in my shirt, oh so bruised. And the Lord hit my chest, kicked air from my breath, put power in my step.